She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Make it end. Make it end. What is...
Candace Owens didn't even blink when Meghan Markle accused the royals of racism. She didn't flinch when Meghan claimed she was silenced by the palace. But when someone whispered, "What about the daughter she left behind?" Candace froze. And then she did what no one else dared. She said, "Walking away from your own child is different." That single contradiction cracked Meghan's carefully built image wide open. This wasn't about tiaras, tabloids, or Netflix interviews anymore. This was about something far darker. A rumor that Meghan Markle, long before she ever became a duchess, lived another life. A life where she was a teenage bride and possibly a mother. And if that's true, then this isn't just idle gossip. This would be the missing chapter of Meghan Markle's story. A chapter she's been trying to erase for nearly 30 years.
Searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
The whispers don't start at Buckingham Palace. No, they take us all the way back to a little faded chapel in Las Vegas. The year 1994. Meghan had just graduated from Immaculate Heart High School in Los Angeles. While her classmates were celebrating senior trips, decorating dorm rooms, and snapping last teenage photos, Meghan was apparently planning something else entirely. Forget Europe trips and carefree beach days. Insiders claim Meghan hopped on a plane to Nevada. No flashing paparazzi, no designer gowns, just two family witnesses, a quiet friend from Chicago, and a vow whispered in secrecy. The groom? Joe Giuliano, a quiet, steady young man from a traditional Italian-American family. Unlike Meghan, Joe wasn't dreaming of Hollywood. He was about stability, privacy, and family honor. He believed in marrying young, starting a family early, and keeping things behind closed doors. Values that clashed wildly with Meghan's big ambitions. Even then, Meghan was talking about Northwestern University, about stages, cameras, fame, dreams that would take her far away from Chicago traditions. Yet in that Vegas chapel, the two of them stood side by side. They said their vows. They sealed a bond. But that bond? It didn't last, because only months later something happened that turned this teenage mistake into something far heavier. Sources close to the Giuliano family insist Meghan was pregnant. By mid-1995, they say, a baby girl was born in Chicago, not under Hollywood's glare, but quietly, under the roof of the Giuliano family. And here's where the silence begins. Meghan, they claim, made a choice. She wouldn't raise the child herself. Instead, Joe's family stepped in quietly while Meghan walked away, as if the chapter never existed.
Who are you trying to be?
No official adoption, no custody paperwork, just silence. And that silence became even louder when Meghan filed for an annulment, a record so tightly sealed in Clark County, officials refused to confirm or deny it even existed. Publicly, Meghan painted those years as a gap year. She said she traveled, explored, found herself before heading off to Northwestern. But when investigators dug deeper, nothing. No exchange paperwork, no visa stamps, not a single verified photo, only a void. And that void, it lined up perfectly with the whispers of a hidden child in Chicago. The Giuliano family, for their part, never went running to tabloids. They never cashed in when Meghan rose to fame. They stayed silent, which, oddly, only made the whispers harder to dismiss. Neighbors recalled a young girl at Giuliano family gatherings, never introduced as a niece, never as a cousin, just there. And when pressed, relatives would only say, "She's one of ours." End of conversation. That kind of silence? It was strange. Families usually love to share milestones, baby photos, birthdays, school newsletters. But for this child, insiders say there were none. No paper trail, no public acknowledgement, just a little girl growing up in the Giuliano household like a shadow.
To just be a human. I've never seen this sort of, I've never seen someone that struggles to just be, give us like one strip of authenticity.
For Meghan, this wasn't just a family arrangement. It was an eraser, a way to step into her next chapter without dragging the past along with her. But Candace Owens' reaction ripped that carefully erased chapter straight back into the spotlight. On her show, she didn't just question Meghan's timeline. She looked dead into the camera and asked what no royal watcher dared to. What kind of mother walks away from her own child? That one sentence hit harder than any gossip about tiaras, Netflix deals, or royal feuds. Because this wasn't palace drama anymore. This was family. And online, the reaction was instant. TikTok creators clipped Candace's disbelief and looped it against Meghan's smiling red carpet photos. Reddit threads blew up with people comparing Meghan's flawless biography to the huge hole in her 1994 to 95 timeline. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. "We laughed at the royal drama. But this is different. This isn't palace politics. This is blood." Even mainstream commentators, people who used to dismiss Meghan's controversies as overblown PR noise, suddenly started asking questions they never had before. If there's truly nothing to hide, then why seal that annulment? Why claim a gap year of travel no one can verify? And why does that missing year line up so neatly with the whispers of a child in Chicago? That clash between Meghan's glossy public image and the Giuliano's suffocating silence is exactly why Candace's words went nuclear. For the first time, people weren't debating Meghan's feud with Kate or whether the palace treated her unfairly. They were questioning the one role Meghan has always clung to for sympathy: motherhood. And suddenly, one question grew louder than all the others. What happens if the daughter hidden for 30 years steps into the light? The summer of 1994 should have been Meghan Markle's golden moment. She had just graduated from Immaculate Heart High. Her friends were giddy, planning trips, gossiping about crushes, dreaming about college. But Meghan, according to accounts tied to the Giuliano family, she wasn't daydreaming about beaches. She was planning a wedding. Las Vegas, July 1994. Not the glitzy strip of shows and neon lights, but a tiny tucked-away chapel. Witnesses described it. No photographers, no bridesmaids, no flowers, just Meghan, Joe Giuliano, and a hushed ceremony that lasted minutes. A teenage marriage sealed with vows that were buried almost immediately. Months later, Meghan filed for an annulment. But unlike most annulments which remain on public record, this one sealed tight. To this day, Clark County won't confirm its existence. And that silence, it only fed the speculation. Because if this was just a teenage mistake, a little youthful rebellion, why go to such extremes to erase it completely? Her official biography papers over it with a single neat line: graduated 1994, took a gap year, enrolled at Northwestern in fall 1995. Simple, too simple. Meghan herself repeated that story countless times. She said she traveled. She said she discovered herself. She said she explored the world before college. But when researchers tried to prove it, there was nothing. No exchange program, no visa stamps, no photos, just blank space. And that blank space, it matches exactly with the whispers of what came next. Reports claim Meghan became pregnant in late 1994. By mid-1995, a baby girl was born, raised under the Giuliano family roof in Chicago. According to one relative, the arrangement was clear. Joe's family would raise the baby. Meghan would walk away. No court papers, no custody fights, no documents that could ever tie her name to the child. Over the years, tiny fragments of this story slipped through. A neighbor remembered seeing a young girl at Giuliano gatherings, though never formally introduced. Another relative allegedly muttered once, "She was Meghan's before she was ours." These weren't splashy tabloid headlines. They weren't clickbait YouTube theories. They were quiet recollections told by people who had no reason to profit off Meghan's story. And while vague, they were consistent enough to keep the whispers alive. The haunting part? If this timeline is real, Meghan Markle's hidden daughter is nearly 30 years old today. Somewhere in Chicago, she's living an ordinary life, going to work, visiting family, walking streets where nobody knows she might be connected to one of the most famous women on earth. Reports even claim she looks like Meghan, the same eyes, the same bone structure. But in the public record, she doesn't exist. And for Meghan, that invisibility was the point. By the time Candace Owens' remarks exploded across the internet, the missing year mystery had already been pieced together into a kind of digital case file. TikTok creators spliced timelines. Meghan's so-called gap year on one side and the sealed annulment on the other. Reddit sleuths built family trees connecting every Giuliano relative. YouTubers clipped Meghan's interviews, pausing on moments when she spoke about motherhood. One viral edit froze Meghan's smile as she told Oprah, "I just wanted to be a mom." Then, in a brutal cut, it flashed a headline, "Missing year. Missing daughter." That contradiction stuck like a thorn. Fans who once defended Meghan with all their energy suddenly wavered. One Twitter user wrote, "I can excuse royal racism, but abandoning your own child? That's different." Even loyal supporters admitted the timeline didn't add up. No photos, no travel records, a sealed annulment, and whispers from Chicago. It was no longer easy to laugh it off as just rumor. Inside Hollywood, the whispers weren't just gossip. They were dangerous. Meghan had built her brand on authenticity. From Suits to Spotify to Netflix, she constantly sold herself as the woman who speaks her truth. But this rumor, it hit at the foundation of that brand. If Meghan really had walked away from a child, if she had buried that secret for 30 years, how could she continue being packaged as the honest, truth-telling Duchess? One producer reportedly told a trade journalist, "If this sticks, Meghan's entire brand collapses. The audience won't forgive a fake memoir in the palace? Oh, they were watching." Still bruised from Meghan's accusations about racism and cruelty, Palisades supposedly welcomed the irony in private, but publicly they stayed silent. They didn't need to say a word. Meghan's own refusal to address the rumors was doing the damage for them. That silence only deepened the drama, because the longer she ignored the whispers, the more people assumed she had something to hide. Culturally, the fallout was sharp. Commentators compared Meghan's alleged decision to other celebrity family scandals. People brought up Jack Nicholson, who learned late in life that the woman he thought was his sister was really his mother. They mentioned Steve Jobs, whose strained relationship with his first daughter haunted his reputation for years. The lesson was always the same. People can forgive flaws, but abandonment, that cuts differently. It feels personal. And in Meghan's case, it wasn't just about her being famous, it was the irony. She had built her royal escape narrative on protecting her children from palace cruelty. But if she had erased another child from her past, that wasn't just scandal, that was hypocrisy. The internet had a field day. Memes showed Meghan holding Archie and Lilibet with captions like, "Children she claimed." Children she erased. TikTok loops mashed her speeches about motherhood against images of sealed documents and blank timelines. And the question that began with Candace Owens now echoed across every platform. If Meghan's secret daughter exists, what happens when she steps forward? Today, that's the cliff edge Meghan Markle stands on. A career, a reputation, maybe even her marriage, balanced on a silence that cannot hold forever. 30 years ago, it was possible to bury an annulment, avoid cameras, and rely on a loyal family to erase an inconvenient truth. But today, in the age of viral videos, DNA kits, and digital sleuths, missing years don't stay missing. It would take just one viral post, one leaked document, one DNA test, one interview, and the truth Meghan has avoided for decades could explode into global headlines. Insiders whisper that Meghan's team isn't terrified of palace politics or Netflix deals. They're terrified of this because if Meghan's brand collapses, it won't be because of the monarchy. It'll be because of Chicago, because Meghan has always positioned herself as the mother who fought for her kids, the Duchess who stood up to the royals to protect her family. But if another daughter exists, one she left behind, that narrative flips overnight. Suddenly, Meghan isn't the protector, she's the abandoner. And that single contradiction could be career-ending.